What's up? Welcome to That's Enough, the show full of the sports topics we just can stop talking about. He's Steve, I'm Mike, and Steve, we've got, this is not so much talking to the athletes and people in sports themselves. We're coming right for you, the listener, the common man or woman this week. I'm excited to throw down with some invisible people. Are you?
I very much am.
Good. So let's get to it. My thing is people who make these crazy, insane athletic claims when it comes to them and professional sports. What do I mean? I was at a barbecue, summertime barbecue recently, and one of my friends threw out to the group as we're talking about sports, and he was pretty athletic back in his day in high school. We're all in our 40s now, but he's like, man, in my day, I bet I could have gotten 10 yards rushing in an NFL game. And this is a guy who was athletic, but never even played high school football.
Yeah.
And I told him right away, you would not get an inch rushing in an NFL game. And then that led into the top, the arguments started flying. Well, all right, well, what could you do? Could you make contact against a Major League Baseball pitcher? Could you score 1 point in an NBA basketball game? And I think to most people, and look, you might know someone who played like D2 or was a collegiate athlete or whatever, but I think 99% of people would not be able to score a single point in an NBA game, would not be able to guarantee 1 yard rushing in an NFL game, would not be able to even get a shot on goal in an NHL game. Are you with me, or am I just being a bit of a hater and underestimating the luck and the chance that the average Joe might have in a professional sports context?
I'm 100% with you.
Okay, good.
Making contact would only happen if you just stick your bat out and just happen to guess correctly. That's it. That's your only chance. If you just guess correctly and don't actually swing. The difference between the worst D1 ball player and the average pretty athletic person is so monumentally enormous. Like the thing that shifted my perspective when I was probably 14 or 15 was at a summer camp, and a counselor had played high school baseball.
Okay.
Not even college. He was just a good high school baseball player. And we were people who played some stickball and, Little League and blah, blah, blah.
You ran around the neighborhood.
Yeah. He hit what would have been a double and just kept running. And he probably would have been out at home by 10 feet. He was absolutely nailed and just slid around the tag with no issue. It was magic. It was just one of these things where the catchers got the ball on the line in front of it. Nothing, not even close. And that made me just go, oh, wow, people really do know what the hell they're doing.
And you see every once in a while, there's videos that float around of like an NBA 12th man shows up at a local YMCA and drops 50 points in like 5 minutes and nobody can guard him, right?
Yes.
Or people talk in baseball all the time how that jump from even AAA to the big leagues, that's too hard for people who dedicate their entire lives and careers to this. So I hate to break it to you, but the only way that you are having any success at all in any professional sport is if they let you.
Yeah.
Like if you stick your bat out and the pitcher decides, you know what, I'm going to hit the bat for you because they have that kind of command. Yeah. Or, on an NBA court, they're like, you know what, I'll give you the 3. I'll spot you the 3. Chuck it. And you happen to get lucky that it goes in. If any of these guys actually tried, I don't think there's any way the average person is having any modicum of success in any of these scenarios.
Absolutely not. I got the opportunity to use one of those hitting tracking systems. I threw a first pitch for the Toledo Mud Hens, and in their batting cage, they have one of those. I think it's like Sport Track or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And so, you're in the cage, and if you've ever hit in a cage, sometimes you feel good about that hit. You go, oh yeah, I really got that one.
Yeah.
And there was one where I was like, all right, I got that one. And I look at it and it's like a short pop up to second base. I was like, you gotta be. I thought that was like a home run
What
straightaway
was that?
center.
375, 380 off the bat?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, no, it's got the little animation of the second baseman jogging in to catch it. Like, it just
barehanded.
Oh, it hurts. And that's the reality of it. It is so much more difficult than people realize. All of it is.
So let me ask you this before we head over to your topic. Is there any scenario where you think you would have any success? Let me rephrase it, because we've already said I think the answer is no. In which scenario do you think you would have the best chance at success? You can pick the sport, you can pick the league, you can pick the parameter for success. For me, I think NBA game, just from like chucking a ball before anyone could even get to me, and maybe 1 out of 100 times, or I get fouled and I can make a free throw. I think I could score a point in an NBA game would be the most realistic, and I don't think it's that realistic. What's yours that you would have the best chance at, knowing that chance is still extremely remote and maybe 0.5% chance of happening?
Well, I agree with you. First of all, can't skate on ice. So
yeah, me neither. So out, hockey's out.
Hockey. Even with no one playing defense, I couldn't get one past a goalie, even standing still.
Yeah, agreed.
With football, I would soil myself as a bunch of 300-pound linebackers just descend upon me. I would say probably my best chance is catching a ball in the field if it's hit kind of near me. And that is another thing, by the way, that I've gotten to shag flies during BP. And shagging flies was like my favorite thing as a kid. And it's something I was quite good at. And the difference between how much these balls carry, like the read you have to get on it, you'd have to practice that for months before you got used to just how far they carry. I've caught a couple during BP, and they were ones that were like not too far from me. Because the second someone hits it, if you start in one direction, you're wrong. Like the read on that ball is going to tail. That ball is going to go 30 feet further than you thought it was. Like, these things are hit very, very hard.
And at speeds that you can't really comprehend. They're coming off the bat at 100 miles an hour. So you got to be guessing right. It's not shagging flies in your old little league field.
If it's a weak pop up like the one
right in your track, man. All right, so that's where our argument ended up. My friend group and I, basically convincing all of ourselves that we had no chance. So I'm glad we got to the same sort of conclusion.
Oh, no, I got one.
Oh, fire away.
Accidental 7-10 split. If the pin careens the wrong way, that's the only.
Oh man, I wouldn't even think I could get an accidental 7-10 split in bowling. But
I always say I did that one time. I got it one time.
All right, so you have proof of concept.
It wasn't purposeful. I was aiming for one because I was like, oh, let me just get one, and it just hit off the wall the right way. It was just happened.
And then you walk to the snack bar like, yep, 7-10 split guy, that's me.
Yep.
All right, let's take a break, but we don't have any sponsors. So this is not an ad read from a brand that does not sponsor us. Steve, I think you've got one tracked up here.
I do, and this is not a nice one. All right.
Oh, boy, here we go.
We are not sponsored by Goldman Sachs. Remember the worst guy you went to high school with? Well, he's probably a VP here. Goldman Sachs, where we collect awful.
Oh, that's catchy. If you're gonna insult somebody, at least make it memorable. Please don't sue us. That was not an ad read. If you do want to sponsor us, and you know what, maybe we'll take some Goldman Sachs money. We could be bought, I think, for the right price. That's enough show at gmail.com. All right, Steve, your topic this week was a little bit complimentary to mine. I talking about people who just didn't know what they were talking about in terms of their own physical prowess and abilities. Hit me with yours.
My favorite is people who don't know what they're talking about when it comes to sports, but pretend to. And it is okay to not know everything. There is plenty I don't know. Like, I think the idea, and you see this sometimes with radio shows where it's like, what do you think about, this low-level summer league prospect that you've probably never heard of, and like it's supposed to be a gotcha? Like, no, we're not supposed to know all that offhand. But it's okay if you don't know that. Like, whenever I see someone trying to just like big time sports talk, I like to make up an absolute ridiculous claim and say it with confidence to get them to agree with me. Like to just
A reverse gotcha.
Oh, absolutely. Just the idea of, someone running their mouth and, and just say, like, yeah, the thing about the Brewers is they're such a great late season team, so their start doesn't really matter. Just say something like that where it's like absolutely untrue. And it's, and just get people to agree to just show them like, no, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Stop being condescending to other people about it. And it's okay if you don't know every little X and O. It's okay.
I think it's gotten to a point, and earlier this summer, I saw there was the "Who Had It First, you or Shane Gillis" bit from the ESPYs, right? You guys did a similar type thing where you threw out like a thing about the WNBA and said it so confidently, just to say to the audience, gotcha, you guys weren't paying attention because I just made this up.
Yeah.
And I think it's the fact that we have to have so many talking heads for so long, right? If you have a 4-hour talk radio show and someone calls you up and asks you about a prospect you've never heard of, saying, I don't know, next caller is bad radio, right? Your boss is going to be like, why are we paying you for the drive time slot on Thunder the Fan 1017 or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have to feel like, oh, that kid, you're going to have to ramble on for a minute or two. And I feel like the fact that people feel they need to do that ends up causing a lot of this stuff that you're talking about, because you talk out of your ass because you feel like you have to talk about something.
So a fun little trick. I guest hosted on WFAN in New York.
Iconic.
And it was like a crazy overnight shift. It was the overnight shift on Christmas because they were like, oh, Steve's Jewish, he'll do it. I'm like, yeah. Sure. So I guest hosted, and I got a couple calls like that. And the real trick is finding a way to change the subject to something that Mm-hmm. Someone calls about some, ridiculous prospect middle reliever you've never heard of. And then you can just go into like, well, the bullpen struggles are because of this. And then you don't have to talk about that guy. And so that's what I used to do. I would just change the topic to what I didn't know about.
It's a great trick, and I can confirm, I've worked for some companies in the past where we actually had to go through legitimate like PR training, and they would bring in a public relations firm and tell us, hey, and if you have to give an interview about this, here's what you do. And that's exactly the advice they give you, is deflect to something that you know about and you talk about. You acknowledge their thing, you find a way to sneak it into your thing, and then you just make it all about you. And so that's good Steve Hofstetter PR 101.
Just like give them some real esoteric trivia. They talk about a bad pitcher, and I could just be like, oh, I went to 6 of Anthony Young's losses in person. Remember Anthony Young? And then just talk about
and take it down that whole
exactly. Yeah.
That whole new path. Absolutely. So yeah, again, we've had this before. Don't feel like you need to pretend. Just admit you don't know it. And if you can take it somewhere in your own direction, even more power to you. Now that conversation is all yours.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, that's all you need. Anything else to say before we wrap up here this week?
Nah, just, thanks for watching, everybody. And, thanks for those of you who have been coming out to live shows.
All right, yeah, keep checking out Steve whenever he's hitting the mic. Check me out at Mets games the rest of the summer if you'd like, and hit us up at That's Enough Show on your socials, or Steve Hofstetter, Mike Janella on all the various social medias as well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we believe in you. You're the one person that could hit a Major League Baseball pitcher, whoever you are listening, if you jumped in the batter's box.
These are all hits I got.
Yeah, all the balls behind Steve. Yeah, that's right. Hits in the claw machine at the arcade.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. That's enough.